going to pay 1,600, multiply that. And Mr. Speaker, in the end, the desperate youths will be frustrated. We, the MPs, they will come to us for money to go and do medicals that they will never get the opportunity to get do medical. Don't go and waste money, 1,600, because you won't get a chance, because you say you have only 5,000. Why do you have to go? Because that money plus your 220, it means that you are going to lose 1,800 plus. Your transport has not come. 500 to lose 1,800 plus. Your transport has not come. 500,000 people have already lost opportunity. This response for me, I have this response for me. I have read him.
Honourable members, an urgent question has been scheduled for the Minister for Energy and Green Transition. I would therefore for Energy and Green Transition. I would therefore start with that urgent question. I would therefore ask the Minister to take the designated seat as I call on Honorable Tanko Mustafa Amadu, Member of Parliament for Bia West.
The Minister for Energy and Green Transition, what specific measures have been implemented to address the persistent power supply challenges in the Bia West constituency? Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Feeder. The length of that feeder to Bia is about 80 kilometers. And in the power sector, when you have such a long distance and you are supplying power, it becomes difficult. This affects the line. Also, we intend to completely remove trees along portions of the feeder routes to further reduce interference. This measure would require the active involvement and participation of residents along these sections of the feeder, and more especially feeder and a look room. When this is completed, it will serve as an alternative feeder to the Bia constituency using the 33 kV Benchema feeder, which is more reliable and reduce outages in Bia constituency. 60 trees along that route so that the interruption interference is minimized. The Assembly on 26 February 2026 wrote to the Forestry Services Division to seek approval.
Honourable members, this is a constituency-specific question. This is constituency. In Bia West constituency, the question even indicates that it's a constituency-specific question. Leader, on this occasion,
Power supply is addressed. That was at the heart of the question.
That is enumerated. So that question is captured by the answer. So, honourable members, let's now move to oral question. The Minister is also scheduled to answer some
as regulated by His Excellency the President. This includes a National Energy Transition Framework, a revised Renewable Energy Master Plan, a Renewable Energy and Green Transition Directorate, which ultimately will be hived off to form the Renewable Energy Authority as part of our green agenda. Total to this, there are key ongoing projects which includes the 200 megawatt Dawa solar project, 100 megawatt Bui solar project, Sinon Asoglu's 50 megawatt solar project, VRA's 30 megawatt floating solar project, and a 200 megawatt solar plus 1,000 MWH battery energy storage project. Mr. Speaker, what we are seeking to do is to advertise through competitive processes for 200 megawatts of battery energy. The ministry also completed the rehabilitation of five pilot mini grids in Pediakope, Kodokope, Aglakope, Atigalakope, Atigagome, and Wayokope. The ministry also completed and commissioned 3 new. Mr. Speaker, this year we'll be constructing solar parks where electricity powered or electric powered cars can charge their cars. And so we'll be coming out with an LI that will regulate how we set up charging points for electric vehicles, particularly
processes the ministry has initiated to increase the green energy component of the ministry. But your supplementary question is how much has been generated?
I agree with you, but because he mentioned the fund, I thought
an approval. We do not want to rush into an approval. We do not want to rush into person that acts or bill into act. We want to do proper work on it, and I'm sure that when we are ready, Mr. Speaker, we'll come to this chamber or this house for your approval. Thank you.
See, honourable members, let's get it right. Your question is processes the ministry has initiated to increase the status and come and give to you. I read Order 89 severally that the word is not in relation to questions, in relation to answer, but it's in relation to the original question. Unless that is changed, the supplementary question seeking clarification from the answer must relate to the original question but not introduce a new matter. Now, the status of Green Transition Authority and then the measures that you are.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to find out from my very good friend, the able minister, when are we seeing the completion of the key ongoing projects he has outlined in paragraph 3?
Yes, Mr. Kuni.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Energy and Green Transition.
Honourable colleague, do not form part of projects currently ongoing, and that is in Pru West constituency. But the good news is that the Minister of Finance has agreed that we should undertake some special projects. This House approved 4 regions to commence with, but we made a strong case that beyond the 4 regions, we had some special areas that we thought we should consider from the regions that are yet to benefit from the rural electrification project. And so, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I would engage my colleague so that we can prioritize these towns and add them to the special projects so we can complete them. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Yes, any supplementary question?
Mr. Speaker, I do not have any supplementary question, and I'm impressed with the fact that you will engage me and then we...
members, let's move to question numbers 392, standing in the name of Honourable Michael Kwesi Edu, Member of Parliament for
Location Committee, with a rep from the ministry and 2 reps from the NPA. And so I took it from one individual deciding how the lay cans are allocated to a committee with this representation. And so far, I can assure you that they've been working very well. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Any supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, I want to find out the specific findings, if any, that the Petroleum Downstream Sector Reform Committee uncover regarding the alleged manipulation of the Lakan schedule, and whether the committee's report.
Here now, there's been no need for them. Here now, there's been no need for them to write to me, to seek that kind of express approval, to change the Lakan schedule. That brings about certainty, it brings about predictability, so that people can plan how to source financing and deliver the Lakan. On the committee report, it was for my decision making. But if this House directs that the report should be made available, I'll comply with Parliament's directive. But so far, I think that all the industry players have seen the report, and the report speaks for itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Energy, Green Transition when the ministry would release supplies for the completion of electrification projects which have come to a standstill since December 2024 in the following communities within the Amansia Central District: Sabe number 1, Sabe number 2, Manfo, Udumto, Address number 1, Address number 2,
Sundatwa, Awrasa, Adintia, Yao, Krakrum, Ntontum, and Apao communities forms part of the ministry's ongoing electrification projects in the Amansia Central District, or what others call Odotobri constituency. Some of the low voltage and high voltage poles required for the electrification project in the aforementioned communities have been supplied already. The balance, being 249 LV poles, are yet to be supplied to the project contractor, including LV poles. The ministry has, however, taken steps to procure this much needed material. And I want to assure my good friend that we expect that before the end of this year, we'll complete these projects. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with law as passed by this House, we've secured commencement authorization. We've written to the Public Procurement Authority, but we want to do it through competitive process.
That you've just given me, would that be different from the LV poles and accompanying accessories to be supplied to Apahon, Tontom, and Yaokrakrum?
Standing in the name of Issa Salifu Taylor, Takwa Nswaim.
Thank you, the Right Honourable Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Energy and Green Transition when the ministry will provide additional transformers to Takwa Nswaim to replace the 33 damaged units due to overloaded.
At the end of this month, based on the competitive process that ECG is going through, we would go into the second phase of mass-scale replacement of these transformers. And these are some of the challenges, so that the only faulty transformer within the district is located at faulty transformer within the district is located at Onkwanta. Affected customers have been temporarily transferred to adjacent healthy transformers to ensure continued service. And that is what we do when we realize that high capacity transformers to address this challenge. And like I said, ECG is carrying this challenge. And like I said, ECG is currently undergoing a procurement process to acquire and install these 33 kVA transformers. Mr. Speaker, just to add that these 33 kVA transformers, Mr. Speaker, just to add that the current
ministry to make sure that we do a proper follow-up for my ministry to make sure that we do a proper follow-up for my constituent ministry to make sure that we do a proper follow-up for my constituent to benefit from.
Honorable members, we move to question number 626, standing in the name of Nelson Kofi Jaba, Karachi East.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I rise to ask the Minister for Energy and Green Transition when the following communities in the Karachi East municipality will be connected to the national grid. The communities include Ativikope, Tumikope, Pai Old Town, Sikape, and Atafian.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Yeah, was it actually, in fact, the one before
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Tomikope, Pai Old Town, and Atiafiam are not yet part of our current ongoing electrification programs. The Ministry will, however, engage the Member of Parliament to consider these towns because Parliament has approved the rural electrification project for 4 regions. And I know that OT region is part of it, and so we wouldn't have a problem. Volta region is also part of it. And the objective is to achieve universal access towards electrification. So I can assure him that once these towns have come up, this is the right time. We'll take them up and include them in the list. Meanwhile, we are currently implementing the electrification of 25 communities in Karachi East, including some an EPC project being implemented by a company whose name is Hansard on behalf of Ghana Gas under the National Cylinder Recirculation Model Program. The project is valued at an estimated $24.7 million. It was awarded on 19th October 2021 and construction commenced on 13th July 2022 with a target completion date of July 2020 prior to the award of the contract. Consequently, the board has initiated a detailed review and audit of the project and commissioned independent market and feasibility studies, which is expected to be completed by the end of the second quarter of this year. These studies, when completed, will be submitted to the Minister. Upon receipt of this report, we will then be informed, and from an informed point of view, we would make a decision on how to proceed with this project. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Any supplementary question?
Very much, Right Honorable Speaker. First of all, Right Honorable Speaker, for the records, I want to correct the records that it is not in Elamble, but in Evalue Ajomojura. And also to celebrate the Minister for his passion about the transition especially the use of gas. But right, Honorable Speaker, I visited the site. I've seen the investment that has been made so far and the deterioration that is happening. And with an investment of almost $8 million already injected.
Honorable member asks a supplementary question.
Would the Honorable Minister be kind enough to give some assurance on the timelines and confirm his commitment to seeing to the completion of this project to serve the purpose for which it was initiated?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, he has my assurance. Thank you.
Yes, any further supplementary question?
Very much, Honorable Speaker. I take his words. The minister, I know, is a nice gentleman.
Ask supplementary question.
And that we take his assurance. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
All members, let's move to question number 653.
Mr. Speaker, I have a question now.
On the constituency specific.
With respect, Speaker, gas cylinder recirculation is national issue.
Please ask.
Yes. So, Mr. Minister, if you look at the answer that was published in the other paper, the answer says something, and I didn't hear you read that part. I don't know whether it was omission. It says that after the end of the 2024, approximately 8 million had.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to ask the Minister for Energy and Green Transition what measures the ministry is implementing to deal with the shortage of electricity meters in the country.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when we assumed office, particularly for 2024, even though the ECG board approved about 3 billion for the award of contracts, more than 9 billion was awarded for contracts, including the supply of meters. And previously, there have been similar awards. So it led to a choke, particularly when I insisted that we should implement the cash waterfall to its letter. It means that the revenue ECG was receiving as a portion of its cash waterfall allocation was not enough. So some of these meter manufacturing companies who had been given huge contracts could not meet that demand. So we've done a review, and now we've reviewed ECG's money from the initial 300 to an amount of 360 million cedis per month. Not only have we increased it, we've now indexed their collection to a percentage of the total collection to give them the incentive to collect more. So if ECG wants to get more than the 360 million, then they have to work very hard and collect more, because the more they collect, the more they get. But I can assure you that following that intervention, we are beginning to see much more meters being released into the system. And I can assure those without meters that in the coming weeks, we would have a lot more meters to distribute, except that we want to be strategic. Numbers, the numbers keep changing. So I would plead with him that if I'm given time, I'll get all that records and ferry it through your office to him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
See, all members, is for a stated reason. That's why there is a limit to what you can ask by way of supplementary. If the minister should extempo provide the answer and it turn out not to be correct, then it means the minister mislead the entire house. So some of the questions should have been the entire house. So some of the questions should have been specific questions for the minister to prepare and come and answer. Yes, Honorable.
The job that they ought to be doing. So I can assure my honorable colleague that these meters are meters that meet the standards of the PURC, they meet the standards of the ministry, and they meet the standards of the Energy Commission through the Ghana Standards Authority. Thank you.
Yes.
Speaker, is it the case that the minister is unaware of complaints about some of these meters which are already in circulation, that people are complaining about that they consume electricity more than they are expected?
Well, you may ask a specific question.
Very well, Speaker. I agree. I thought that is a man very well versed, so he may want to take advantage, but I agree.
Yes, Honorable Richard Achampong.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. I want the Minister to give us some great assurance, because, Mr. Speaker, people want to enjoy electricity. If meters are not supplied, it comes with illegal connectivity and the rest, and we are losing a lot of resources.
Honorable Deputy Whip asks question.
So my question is, Minister, in especially Greater Accra region and in Greater Kumasi, when are we expecting to get full supply of meters?
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, like I said, this year we've reprioritized ECG's procurement. Mr. Speaker, whilst in 2024, about 9 billion was spent in procurement.
Statement. Honourable members, the first statement on the order. Honourable members, the first statement on the order paper is standing in the name of David Sansan Opoku. Member of Parliament for Mbraiso, and Dr. Abednego joint. B is Isa Atta, Member of Parliament for Samarego. Atta Isa, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make a statement on the opportunities for trade facilitation within and among African countries, the challenges, weaknesses, and the way forward for Africa. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make a statement on the opportunities that exist for trade facilitation within and among African countries, the challenges and weaknesses confronting us, and the way forward in strengthening intra-trade African trade for the benefit of our people. Speaker, trade remains one of the most powerful engines for sustainable economic growth and development. In recent years, Africa has taken bold steps towards deepening economic integration, most especially or notably through the establishment of streamlined custom procedures and modernized infrastructure. 3, enhance competitiveness of African businesses in global value chains. And 4, promotion of regional value addition, ensuring that African exports more finished goods rather than raw materials. However, Mr. Speaker, there remain significant challenges and weaknesses that threaten to undermine these opportunities. Key among them are the inadequate infrastructure, including poor road networks, rail and port networks, which rise the cost of trade and emissions. 2, massive investment in infrastructure, both physical and digital, to ease connectivity and logistics across borders. Speaker, strengthening institutions responsible for trade facilitation, including customs, standards, authorities, and border agencies. 4, capacity building for SME, particular responsibility to champion these reforms. Let us therefore align our national trade policies, infrastructure investments, and private sector development strategies with a broader vision of a prosperous, self-reliant Africa, that trade more with itself and less dependence on others. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the facilitation is not merely an economic agenda, it is a human agenda. It is about jobs for our people, dignity for our farmers, artisans, and empowerment for our women, and hope for the millions of Africans seeking a better future. Let us therefore seize this moment to strengthen African trade facilitation and make the dream of the continental economic integration a living reality. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Just want to take it out.
Then they can take their test. While all members
Just want to take it out.
then they can take their test. While all
Within our own country, when our women are doing their businesses, they have a lot of issues on the roads, being stopped here and there by officers who are supposed to know, and being searched. We have had so many complaints, and I don't want to be so direct in saying that, with officers requesting monies from the poor women who are just running around trying to sell 1 or 2 things in order to keep up their families. Sometimes waiting for their goods to be cleared or whatever they call it, before they are able to continue, which is very, very bad, very devastating. Mr. Speaker, I happened to go to Côte d'Ivoire, and we went on inspections of our borders and to see how businesses were going on. And when we went to the Elubo border, it was very bad. The women, I can't even describe it because the way they were lying everywhere, sitting anywhere, and waiting for their goods to be cleared, as they have said. It was just horrible. Mr. Speaker, as a point, I myself, not any other person, and I will say it here without any reservation, I wanted a place to wash down, that came and I asked the question about meters, the meters that we use to get our electricity so that people can be linked or can be connected. The issue came up that we had meters stuck somewhere because taxes had not been paid or duties had not been paid. I asked the question, what are you telling me, government on government, the people need the meters, and yet they are stuck somewhere, and you are telling me that they haven't paid taxes? Mr. Speaker, there is a whole lot. There's a whole lot, and we need to go back to the drawing table if we think that, or the drawing board, if we think that there are issues that need to be regularized or clarified so that business can take place. Because
for the opportunity to comment on the brilliant statement made by my colleague from Sanarigu, Honorable Atta, on the opportunities for trade facilitation within and among African countries, challenges, weakness, and the way forward. In relation to AFTA, Mr. Speaker, even we, Ghana, are privileged, and it's historic for us to host the AFTA headquarters. The Speaker, AFTA also how fragile the economy was. The only war that is not going to affect our continent is the Israel-Iran war, which we don't want to hear, that is going to affect our economy. Mr. Speaker, it will not affect our economy because of how far Israel and Iran is from Africa. Mr. Speaker, as Chinua Achebe said in his book in 1983, that what is the Achilles heel of their nation, Nigeria, by extension to Africa. And he said in his book that the problem is about leadership. The problem is about leadership. Mr. Speaker, we have about 55 countries in Africa, and the total GDP of these countries is less than the GDP of Germany. It's less than the GDP of Japan. And this is making our economies very, very weak. Mr. Speaker, up to now, if AFTA in operation we still don't have a single card for Africans. So capital is not kept in our continent. Most of the cards that we use are either Visa, MasterCard, that is controlled by foreign countries. It is time, number of 10.
Yes, minority leadership.
Speaker, thank you very much. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to commend Honorable Atta Issa, who's been a very forceful guy when it comes to issues of trade and finance. Speaker, AFTA is the most consequential economic development in post-independence Africa, and we are squandering whatever possibilities or opportunities we have with AFTA. Speaker, a single market of 1.4 billion people, a combined GDP of $3.4 trillion, and the potential to boost intra-African exports by 109%. These are not mere statistics, Speaker. We are not just here to cite them, but this is the mandate that AFTA has. And if we are able to put our efforts and resources together, intra-trade should be one of the very important things we should benefit as Africa. Speaker, secondly, we also need to break away from this colonial trap of raw material extraction. All we are noted for doing largely is that we give the raw materials, and then the raw materials are sent out there, and the kind of benefit we are supposed to get from the raw material production itself, we don't, because all we do is that we extract, send them out, and they turn out to be something that we rather go and buy. Speaker, you can buy chocolate here in Ghana, and when you get to Skipo and buy the same size of chocolate, and the amount you end up paying, and even the taste of the chocolate, there is no way you can say that the one in Amsterdam largely is better than that of the one we are consuming and producing here. But what is happening? There is this understanding of this colonial thinking, and that everything we are getting should come from outside. And that is when it happens like that, then we believe that we are taking it from the right source. It's because somebody produces a certain medication here in Ghana, that medication is not seen as the best. Because first of all, you are even buying it very cheaply. There was a conversation yesterday about somebody buying some medication for massage, and that was 15 cedis, and the kind of work the medication did for the person. Just because the person bought it here in Ghana, originally didn't believe that that medication could be of a very stronger effect and the results could be better. And this is it. It's because we have not departed from that colonial thinking. The need for us to have solid industrialization and to know that even with that, there is a corresponding effect of creating jobs. Speaker, that is why we need AFTA, and also to believe that the architecture now in place is for us to take advantage of same. Let us depart from always believing that the colonial master is the best person. Speaker, the digital trade and fintech are Africa's fastest growing economic frontier, and we are not prepared to take advantage of same. Speaker, my final one. There should be non-tariff barriers which are throttling African trade as surely as any tariff war. The economic cost, Speaker, of non-tariff barriers equivalent to an import tariff of 18%. Speaker, it rivals the damage done by the former tariff structures. Tariff liberalization without NTB reform is a half measure that delivers half the result. Speaker, this is the time to depart from the colonial culture, the time to believe that we should just not extract and send them away. We should make sure that we extract and make proper use of them, turn them into proper products. And the finishing. Speaker, that is always the problem. You can even have somebody do something very important and better in Ghana, but the person ends up, and the final product becomes some sort of product that you will not want to buy from the market. So let's take advantage and encourage the Ghanaian people and Africa as a whole to benefit from the arrangements of AFTA. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Majority.
Mr. Speaker, I will allow Professor Alidu to speak.
Please do.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to comment on the statement made by the Honourable Member of Parliament for Sanargu on trade facilitation within and among African countries, challenges, weaknesses, and the way forward. Mr. Speaker, trade is one of the most important activities that is practiced in political economy, simply because we all don't consume what we produce, and we don't produce what we consume. So to be able to make sure that people who consume what they don't produce and produce what they consume are able to get what they want through trade. Mr. Speaker, one of the most important contributing factors to job creation and economic growth is not just the volumes of trade that we are able to have, but who we trade with. Over the years, I think it has largely been the African country trading with global partners like the United States of America, the European Union, and China. And the volume of money that is accrued from this particular trade always inure to the benefit of the developed economies rather than we, the developing economies. So it is very significant that Honorable Ataisa noted in his presentation that we have to find ways to deepen trade within the continent of Africa. That would have been a remarkable path towards economic growth within the continent. But Mr. Speaker, as he indicated, a lot of challenges still remain. And one of them includes our serious colonial ties. Largely, most African countries have colonial ties. And it is very imperative from the colonial perspective that they trade largely with their colonial partners. If you look at the Francophone countries, they trade largely Commonwealth countries or former British colonial countries. We largely trade, still limit our ability to trade more among ourselves compared to how we trade among them. And even if you look at the whole concept of a single currency, which becomes very important when we want to trade among ourselves, it has always been the idea that the African continent largely within the ECOWAS zone to develop a common currency called ECO. We have not been able to do that because of serious colonial interests. So the lack of common currency actually creates a lot of problem in our ability to trade among ourselves as a continent. The other thing has to do with lack of common goods. If you look at the continent of Africa, we largely produce primary goods, consumables, rather than secondary goods, including maybe aircraft, vehicles, and all those things. And a lot of money comes from the production of high-value products like aircraft. Because if you look at the production chain, there are segmented
institutional premises to promote urban order, worker welfare, and social security compliance. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make this statement as a matter of public urgency and the need for the provision of affordable food services within large corporate and institutional premises, including hospitals, banks, ministries, major private sector establishments, including Parliament, proximity to high security or ceremonial zones. This creates multiple challenges. First, it undermines the efforts by metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies to enforce sanitation and decongestion regulations. Secondly, it contributes to congestion around critical installations and ceremonial routes, making it difficult to maintain order. Institutions such as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other organizations in the area shows how food vendors can be properly integrated into building infrastructure. In that case, vendors operate within designated spaces embedded within the facility and pay a modest monthly fee that contributes to sanitation and maintenance of the food courts. These examples illustrate that when food services are intentionally incorporated into institutional design, should be designed to cater to all category of workers, regardless of income level, and should be integrated into planning approvals for major developments. Mr. Speaker, by embedding affordable food services into institutional environments, we can improve worker welfare, support orderly urban planning management, and strengthen compliance with local regulations. It is a practical, preventive solution that benefits both institutions and the broader public. I respectfully urge all of us to work towards policy and planning frameworks and stakeholder engagements that reflect this reality. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, that's the statement ably made. The floor is now open for comment. Well, minority leadership.
I was hoping some of my colleagues would, because this is a very important statement ably made.
You have the floor.
Save that I just was able to pull one from the areas where you have most of the ministries. You realize that the sale of food is scattered all over the place. You do not even know if they go through any some requirements or some conditionalities, as in health officials going to check whether or not the food they are even selling, where they are buying the food stuff from, to even come your food will be ready, then that's the time you may have to rush and come back. So people end up not even eating healthy, and that's the time you may have to rush and come back. So people end up not even eating healthy. And apart from that, they don't get to buy the food at the cost that is cheaper. But if we are able to centralize these canteens or cafeterias and ensure that everything is sanitized, to ensure that those who are even serving are properly dressed, and the foodstuff that are even bought before they are cooked are all in the right manner before served to these our workers within this centralized unit. Speaker, I think that would inure to the benefit of productivity. That will inure to the benefit of the staff now buying at a cheaper rate, the health of the staff or the person who is buying. And so let me take this opportunity to commend the maker of the statement that at least she's thinking of still propagating some of the very good deeds father left to.
Parliament, Job 600. We have a cafeteria. More than 10 years. It's not operating. So what are we talking about here? Members will sit here, sometimes we do extended sitting. We have to order food from outside. It's a big guy. So Mr. Speaker, a big guy. So Mr. Speaker.
So you have to make full disclosures about your travel. Once you are bringing it to my notice, you make full disclosure.
Oh yeah, I'll do that, Mr. Speaker. So Mr. Speaker, let's try to think about welfare. A former member is dead. A former member is dead. A sitting MP is dead. And we come, we read tribute, and may so rest in peace. Which people go on demonstration. We can't complain. And you work for 48 months before your salary is determined. And when the public hear of it, MPs are taking ex gratia, and they go mad. Which institution will engage somebody and the person will work for 48 before his or her salary is determined? I was an operations manager for a bank. As soon as you engage, your salary is determined. Clothing allowance, Christmas bonuses. Every 2 weeks you are paid. Because they don't want to steal their money. So always resources available before you. Come on, find arrears. Get find arrears.
You left it to come to Parliament.
I didn't know the situation. So, Mr.
So
Speaker,
that one, I agree with you. You will
Mr.
never
Speaker,
know
the
until
time
you
has
get
come
here.
for us to face it. Let's ratify the situation because all is not well. So, my honorable lady, I thank you very much for bringing up this issue. It's not about other institutions. All of us are inclusive. You can't talk, but we'll speak for you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
That brings us to the end of that statement. We now move to statement numbered E, standing in the name of Honorable Vincent Eko Asafua, Member of Parliament for Old Tafu. Yes, so we ask that the statement be published in the Hansard.
Management. This significant occasion serves as a reminder that wildlife is not only a source of national pride and ecological stability, but also a crucial factor in economic growth, cultural heritage, and the livelihoods of communities. People in developing countries depend on traditional plant-based medicines. Mr. Speaker, it is encouraging to see that our country has renewed its dedication to environmental sustainability and wildlife conservation through policy reforms and strategic actions. Mr. Speaker, although these efforts are laudable, significant challenges remain. The ongoing decline in biodiversity threatens food security, public health, and economic stability. Safeguarding medicinal and aromatic plants is especially crucial as their loss would impact ecosystem and diminish traditional knowledge passed down through generation. Therefore, it is essential for us as a lawmakers to continue supporting policies that strengthen institutional capacity to enforce conservation efforts, provide sustainable livelihood options for communities near protected areas, promote research, innovation, and value addition in herbal medicine, improve public education and awareness on environmental stewardship. This year, as we celebrate World Wildlife Day, we are reminded that our current decision will shape the environmental legacy for the future generation. It is our responsibility to protect Ghana's natural heritage for our children and our children and grandchildren, and to promote development that is in harmony with nature. Mr. Speaker, in summary, I urge all stakeholders, government agencies, traditional authorities, civil society, private sector, and citizens to collaborate in protecting wildlife, conserving medicinal plants, and promote sustainable environmental practices. These collective efforts will help preserve biodiversity, secure livelihoods, build resilience, and support national development. May this occasion motivate us to renew our commitment and take decisive steps to safeguard our nation's natural resources. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, that's the statement. The floor is now open for comment. Yes, Honourable John Daku.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement ably made by my colleague, Honourable Desmond. It has become the most dangerous source of depletion of our forest cover, and we seem not to care. Mr. Speaker, in the past few weeks, I've had the opportunity to travel with some of the committees of Parliament to visit some of the mining sites, and you will see the effects of galamsey.
our forest cover and the source of medicine in this country. And so, Mr. Speaker, I am happy my colleague on the other side has brought this up. It is indeed timely, and it means that our government, if we want to protect our plants, must, as a matter of urgency, take on the fight against galamsey.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much to add my voice to the statement made by the honorable colleague. Mr. Speaker, we owe it as a duty to protect our river bodies and our forest. Good mining activities that they are doing over there. And look at their infrastructure development, their road network. They don't have a single tile road, but they have all the mineral deposits. They are mining, they are getting money, but nobody is developing the area. Mr. Speaker, can you believe that you spend between $800 or $1,000 to mine an ounce of gold, and now you are selling at 5,000, 2,000 plus, $800 to mine an ounce of gold. So who is making the profit here? Look at our state, look at the environment. So as a nation, can we sit back and think about how to develop our own nation? I don't want to mention names. We have two mines, one in Ahafo, one in Sunyani area, put together. They invested $3 billion. So are you telling us that as a state, we can raise $3 billion to mine our own resources? Spending $800 to mine an ounce. Let's come together and make sure. Let's come together and make sure we protect our forest cover, our river bodies. So by the end of the day, we can say that posterity will come to inherit something that we left for them. Else they will come and blame all of us. You go to the cemetery, we say an epitaph. You go to the cemetery, we say an epitaph. And they say, this foolish MP, this foolish minister. Yes, because we did not protect the environment for them. So please, let's come together. It's not about NDC and MPP. Let's stop galamsey. In Ashanti region, we know. That's what people live on. But we come here with government. That's what people live on. But we come here with government. It's government. As MP, as ministers, what are we doing?
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, kindly resume your seats. Yes, Alhassan Umar, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our ability for a stated period. It gives the consumer a safety net or guarantees him to a remedy if the product fails to meet the set standards. It could be a repair, a replacement, or through the misrepresentation of a warranty constitute a deceptive trade practice and a clear breach of contract. It does not only erode consumer confidence in the market, but it also undermines the integrity and trustworthiness of our commercial landscape. Mr. Speaker, permit me to underscore some common manifestation of deceptive practice, deceptive warranty practices for the benefit of the House. False advertising, the conditional warranty or proprietary parts. A retailer cannot lawfully declare a warranty void simply because a consumer use reality is that while many retailers readily issue both express and imply warranties on products of the from a retailer whose name are withheld. The warranty of this product was expressly inscribed on both the product and on the retailer's official. From the foregoing, Mr. Speaker, the question that must seize the attention of this House is how many of our citizens are being systematically deceived and defrauded daily without any trust between the consumer and the seller is a cornerstone of a modern driven economy. When that trust is broken, it is not just an individual who loses. Our entire nation.
Some survey.
I direct the statement be published in the Hansard. Yes, now, okay. Honorable Emilia Nkuma, Upper Denchira East, you have the floor.
Thank you. Removal of female genitalia for non-medical purposes. It has no medical benefit, no scientific basis, and no moral justification. As amended, criminalizes FGM and prescribes sanctions for perpetrators and accomplices. However, Mr. Speaker, laws alone, there is no cultural, traditional, or religious justification for female genital mutilation. Culture is not static. Any practice that endangers life and dehumanizes women must be confronted and abandoned. It calls on us to strengthen oversight, support targeted education, empower communities, and demand effective enforcement of the law. Zero tolerance must be reflected not only in our words, but
yes, available leader.
Speaker, I was hoping that Honorable Bavo would contribute because apparently he's an FGM specialist. But Speaker, let me do my best by who are going through FGM. The victims. Going through FGM. The victims.
There is an application for same to be expunged from the record. Same is ordered to be expunged. You have the floor. Be expunged. You have the floor.
Speaker, as I started saying, it is not a culture of government that most governments have made so much noise about FGM, but the ability to sponsor to ensure that it is eradicated, Speaker, That is missing. We are still encouraging FGM. Speaker, some even have to endure infertility just because of FGM. So, Speaker, the call now is that let's at least have had engagement with some women.
Ask the local Benya. Ask the local Benya.
And they will tell you, you can ask and ask and ask again.
Ask the local Benya.
They will let you understand that the issues of libido is restrained because they've had their FGMs cut.
Yes, the available leader is speaking from experience.
Speaker, I'm speaking because enumerate the situations they would have to find themselves. Infertility is one. Not having libido is another. STDs is another. And Speaker, if we do not put a stop to this, then we do not know what is going to happen in the next.
To say FGM is not a cultural practice, but a human rights practice, but a human rights violation simpliciter, in my view, may not be simpliciter. In my view, may not be very accurate. The reason is that until a law was passed in this, elevates the practice to the level of the violation of the fundamental rights of the victims of FGM. Mr. Speaker, I say so because if we fail to admit, of sensitizing the public on certain civic responsibilities, do's and don'ts, such as the NCCE, take up the challenge very, very seriously so that in...
Everybody is an expert. You didn't want to agree. Everybody is an expert. You didn't want to agree. But when Honorable Senator is done, the expert still wants to have a bite on this matter. The expert still wants to have a bite on this matter. Speaker, it's just the a humble prayer.
Well, so we should do the restoration of your words in the Hansard. Yes.
Birth became very complicated, requiring forceps, requiring the episiotomy, and in some cases, an emergency cesarean section because of scarring, because of the inability of the tissues to expand to accommodate the emergent head of the baby. Mr. Speaker, recognition of this condition. I think that the issue of stakeholder engagement is key, the enforcement of law, but political will is key. It could not have happened in Ghana without the political will, and I believe that that's perhaps what take advantage of this to improve their knowledge and be advocates wherever they find themselves to ensure that this harmful practice is abolished, not just here, not just across the continent, but across the world. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'm told you are a specialist, so I have to give you the floor.
Mr. Speaker, that was why he established the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs. The Ministry of Women and Children Affairs. But Mr. Speaker, it looks like the ministry has now become more interested in school feeding and the business side of it, rather than fighting, refocus the ministry to the real affairs of children, and women. Mr. Speaker, when I say this, I'm not limiting it to just, Mr. Speaker, every now and then we see children loitering from different African countries on our streets. Mr. Speaker, it
opportunity to bring this statement, which is on the emergency care deficit in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I rise today not only as a member of Parliament, but also as a medical doctor following a hit-and-run accident on the highway in medical technicians responded within minutes and administered care according to standard protocols. Yet, after being transported to 3 major hospitals in the capital, which are the Police Hospital, Greater Accra Hospital, and the Kolebu Teaching Hospital units, several district hospital units, several district hospitals and health centers lack basic resuscitation equipment, defibrillators, ventilators, oxygen supply systems, and trauma care logistics. Human resource constraints is another, Mr. Speaker. We have insufficient number of trained listed, undermining the very principle that emergency care should never be denied. Mr. Speaker, road traffic accidents, obstetric emergencies, cardiovascular diseases,